It is a great day today for all Torontonians. We had a Game 1 win yesterday against the Florida Panthers, and it's getting even better today because I get to talk not only with a real estate tycoon, but a fellow Maple Leafs fan. Chris, how did you enjoy the game last night?
It was fantastic. They started off great. Things happened. I think they went through some adversity, and I think not to get too much into the hockey side of things, but I think it's the most comprehensive team they have, starting from the crease out. Two great goalies, great top six on their D core, and then the forwards are unreal from the first to the fourth line. And the fact that you have Stolarz getting out, which is their legit number one. You also have another number one goalie who won 27 games in the entire season this year and was really stepped up as their number one throughout the season to kind of take his spot there. It's I think it was a great game. They battled through some adversity and still came out on top. So I'm very excited to see game two.
Well, let me tell me if you don't feel comfortable asking this question if you're superstitious, but what are your predictions for this year?
Well, Stanley Cup. I've been saying that for 43 years though. No, I do think if they get through this round, they have a really good opportunity. Like I said, you keep a healthy lineup. They do have two amazing goalies. They have, again, their D-course offensive forwards that also play both ends of the game. They both play offense and a solid defensive game as well. They get through this round. I think they do have a solid chance. This is the best team since the early '90s I've seen. So, and I've been a diehard Leafs fan all the way growing up. I'm also a realist. This year, it does feel a little bit different. And I don't just say that willy-nilly. I really do feel, because if you look at it on paper, they're absolutely stacked. And they just got to execute.
Well, I hope you're right. Let's get into real estate here for a second. You've had a really cool journey. You went from obviously original living in the Stony Creek area, then you went to Houston, started your own brokerage, NSR, if I'm not mistaken. That was what it was called.
Yes, sir.
And now you've become a top 1% team in Canada. Let's go right back to the beginning. What drew you to real estate initially?
Well, I was going to go play pro hockey over in Europe, and I decided that I probably was not going to go to the NHL and make millions of dollars, so I needed to get into something that was going to be my career path. And I had an uncle. I didn't know him very well. He's kind of like an uncle from afar. And we got chatting. I took finance at Brock while I was playing hockey there. And he had the suggestion, why don't you come down and work down here? So I ended up getting into, it was the craziest story down there, but getting into that, went down there, I'm going to get into real estate development, commercial real estate right away. I didn't even know what that meant. But anyways, I started basically working for him as a maintenance man and selling this. He had 45 like older, like kind of classic cars. And then I really found out like I loved sales because I get to communicate with people. And he saw that. And then we ended up starting this brokerage, and I kind of just ran with it the entire time I was down there. And through the recession, me and my wife bought a few shopping centers, some office buildings, a whole bunch of properties. So kind of just got into that real estate mindset. It was all I was focused on. And then end up moving back here to Canada 10 years ago.
Were you having success in what were you selling? You said you were selling cars, right?
Yeah, it was my first time like really selling, but I realized I've been doing it my whole life, and I love talking to people, and I love communicating and finding value and being able to solve a problem. So it was kind of, I built a website. This is going back to 2003, mind you, right? So this is before social media and stuff like that. And I was just doing whatever I could to sell. And that's one thing I liked about that. I was like, I got to create my own environment, my own market, because there's these cars that he had. And he's like, I want to unload them and kind of just, here's some free reign on that. So I was like, wow, it's interesting because I get to be really creative, which I think I'm a pretty creative guy as well, and allowed me to like kind of just come up with these things and end up selling all of them for him. And he's like, holy shit, you might be good at selling real estate too. So I got my license down there. And it only took about 6 weeks to do.
Different world, for sure.
I didn't really learn too much, but learn on the fly, that's for sure.
You said that you didn't even really know that you were into sales, which means that you probably were just doing sales without being deliberate about how you were doing sales. But obviously now, as a seasoned professional, you know that a great salesperson sells benefits as opposed to a good or decent salesperson sells features. You must have known, even without being deliberate, without watching all of these sales trainers, what to look at and what to focus on. Was that intuitive to you, or did you kind of learn on the fly? Tell me about that.
There was, because I never really had coaching beforehand, but looking back, the best thing that taught me how to sell was going back even further. I remember being young and I had to do my first speech, which my son just had to do. And I remember being super nervous because to this day, I don't feel like a very good communicator. I talk too fast and I mumble. It's one of these things that, when I know what I'm talking about, I'm scripted very well and I'm serving the moment very well. My brain turns off and I'm having a conversation. And I always realize like, hey, if I just practice something enough, I can just kind of shut my brain off and serve the moment, which that epiphany didn't come until much later on. But I always wanted to be like, I looked into Toastmasters when I was a kid because I wanted to learn how to talk better. And then I got a job at a Sunoco, a full service Sunoco gas station when I was like in my young teens. And that, looking back, that was the best thing because you actually had to go out there and like people would drive up and you know fill their gas up. You had a script you had to say, which I didn't even know what scripting was. You know, to make sure if they want to get topped off with oil, to upsell them oil, wash their windshield, provide extra value, and then just the how much a smile like will help you, and it just helped me communicate in every way. And I remember my first day, I was so nervous. Because I'm like, oh, you know, you don't know what to say and whatnot. And then looking back, I remember I loved that job because it was just like, it really was the bare bones sales. Someone's coming to you, not like sales in real estate, because people are coming to you for a service. You could actually give better service than they would expect. And what would they do? They'd give you a $5 tip. And for me as a 15-year-old kid in, you know, the mid 90s, that was a big deal getting $5 cold hard cash, right?
Yeah.
So it was the best experience I had, I think, in terms of understanding that communication could lead to better conversations, which could lead to better outcomes for both sides.
So let's look at 10 years ago. You said when you moved back to Canada, what inspired that, I guess, return? And how did you rebuild your brand in this new, although familiar market?
Yeah, definitely not familiar because I went down there as, again, I was playing hockey and, you know, I'd moved to Stony Creek a while before. So, but my mother-in-law, my wife, I met her at Brock. She moved down there. We were having our first child. She was 7 months pregnant. And her mother passed away. My mother-in-law passed away when she was 7 months pregnant with our first child. We made the hard choice to say, hey, do we stay here in Houston? Like, because our next step was to go for citizenship. And we had, I mean, an amazing life set up there. Like, great friends, very lucrative business. You would say for like, at that time I was in the late 20s, early 30s, like incredibly successful for that age. You know, financially, whatever that means. I mean, compared to most like other successful people in a oil-rich place like Houston, different story. But at that time, I was doing quite well for myself. But we made the decision to be closer to family, which was a big decision to make because I went down there as a young, selfish prick, and then became the man I think that I really wanted to be, and realized that family was super important, especially as we were having kids. So we made that decision to move back to Canada, and that was scary because whatever success we had down there and whatnot, moving back to my hometown with literally zero contacts. I think I'd been down there for like a decade. So social media was a thing at that point, but it wasn't like it is now where you really communicate with people. So starting that from scratch again was humbling for sure. And it was a lot of fun. But it made me realize I could just, if you drop me anywhere in, like, especially just doing sales, not running a team, but like just doing sales, real estate sales, car sales, whatever it is, if you put me in any market anywhere that speaks English, I'm going to do really well because those are transferable skills. What
would you say are some of the differences between success in the Canadian real estate market versus success in the American real estate market?
The US dollar's worth more? No, there's no difference. It's all the same stuff. We say it all the time in our team here. It's whatever you're doing. I mean, I think it's sales. Any business is sales. You have to have somebody that's selling something. But it's in this, especially in real estate, like we don't sell anything. We help other people transact their usually largest asset they've ever owned. I always talk about having more quantity of quality conversations will lead to a better business. And I think that's where most people are missing right now because they haven't been through these ups and downs. It's a struggle I have as a team leader. Is like everybody complains about the market and like all these people aren't buying, or this, sale of property condition, we got bumped, which happened to me last week. They'll focus on that. I'm like, well, you just need to talk to more people. And the more people you talk to, better conversations. More conversations, better quality, it's going to lead to better relationships and lead to a pipeline that's just like unrelenting, giving you business. And I truly think people will probably disagree with me, but this business is so easy because your competition is so low, in my personal opinion. No offense to anybody out there, but most people have never had to grind to build these relationships. If you just do it, it's very easy to take market share and build business and then actually build a funnel or a pipeline of people that are going to just continually transact and refer you business. So I think it's the exact same no matter where you go.
Right. You might have offended somebody out there, but don't worry about it. It's okay. But I do want to dig into that a little bit. You said this this business is easy. So I've always said it's not easy, but it is simple. Would you say maybe it's easy because you enjoy the activities? And if somebody, let's say, didn't like, well, let me actually ask you this. Do you enjoy talking to people before there's a relationship there?
Not really, no. But we start to, well, there's two things. It is easy and it is simple. Reason being, you ever worked in a steel factory before? I have. That's hard work. That's really hard work. One of my senior partners, Justin, he's one of our top producers, did 5 deals last month in a down market. He used to be a postie, like he used to deliver mail in the heat, in the cold, in the rain, in the snow. It's like, that's hard work. Like what we do right now, if I said to somebody, here's $100,000, all you need to do is make 20 conversations and follow these systems every day. Would you do it? I was like, yeah. But then to see people actually do it, you know, it's not, there's like the question you asked there, do I love it? I love what it can do. And in the middle, I wanted to finish all my follow-ups for this week to set the example for my team as well. So I'm fully caught up until Monday. All my reminders are caught up. All my follow-ups are done. I did it from 9. I didn't leave my office until I just came in and met with you. So that was 3.5, 4 hours of just like nonstop grinding out. In the moment, it sucks. But in the grand scheme of things, if I really want to build better relationships and have a pipeline of people and provide for myself and our team, that's something I need to do. So when you can it's like if you go to the gym for the first time, you're like, oh my God, this sucks. It's hard and whatnot. But then you start to love the process because holy shit, I'm putting some effort and purpose into something that's hard. And I also eventually start to see an outcome for that. So you almost become addicted to it. And if you can't push through that kind of discomfort, like probably I would say get out of the business.
I actually think that's a really good visualization of it, like going to the gym. Nobody really likes going to the gym to start, but then when they start to feel their muscles getting harder and they start to look in the mirror and like the way that they look more, all of a sudden they can't wait to go to the gym because they know that gets them the thing that they want at the end of the day. And honestly, kind of like a relationship, like if you're married, I know you said you have kids also, you're married.
Yep.
I myself am married with kids as well. And I think the action of pouring into my wife and my kids feeds into the love that I have for them. I think if I just sat back and let them look after themselves and I was totally non-involved, then I think that distance would kind of negate the love that I have. And I think it would almost like subtract from it. But because I pour into them, I in turn love them more.
I totally agree. They say love isn't a noun, right? It's not a thing. It's an action. It's what you do. And the more you do something, the more you can do something, the better you become at it. And it just snowballs itself. And it's like the old saying, like the man who loves walking is going to walk further than somebody's trying to walk a certain distance or something along those lines. It's so true because, and I always bring it back to like, if you can't make 20 contacts a day, so that's a bold thing, do 100 contacts a week. And honestly, as a team lead, it's a struggle. Like, I mean, if you're working with doing 10 deals a week, I get it. There's going to be weeks where you can't do stuff, but like, man, you can't make 20 contacts a day. What are you actually doing in this business? Because again, we don't sell anything. We build relationships. And yeah, you can have a great social media presence, a great listing presentation, fantastic photos and whatnot. But like all those things mean nothing unless you have people that trust you. And how does that happen? You have to communicate with people. And people say, oh, you think AI is going to take the job of a real estate salesperson? Is it going to change our dynamic? Absolutely. But you need to have a human connection with someone that trusts you instinctually, that they're just like, my gosh, this person is out for my best interest. And then in turn, they're going to refer you to people and then kind of build your business that way. So it's just connection with people, especially, okay, if you know what you're doing and you're not a piece of shit and you can connect with people, they're going to trust you a lot more.
Right. I want to hear a little bit more about the systems that you have in place, both for prospecting and follow-up. So you did mention 20 contacts a day. I'm assuming that's the number that you go by. You finish your follow-ups for the week, which means that there was a set number of follow-up calls or conversations you had to have. Walk me through what that prospecting and follow-up process looks like for you and your team.
Well, for myself, it's a little bit different just as team lead. And, I've built a big database for myself. So my entire lead generation, other than like social media and stuff like that, but an actual lead generation communication with people proactively is all follow-ups. So each week, say I have 100 follow-ups for the week. Before the week starts on Sunday, I make sure, say 10 follow-ups per hour is kind of the metric I use, depending if you're faster or slower. But it seems to always work out. 10 per hour is pretty doable. So I need to put in, if I have 100 to do, I need to put in 10 hours of lead generation for follow-ups, right? But if I'm looking at, I'm actually building a course. It's called A Week in Life of the Top Producer on our team. And there's a real simple way to look at it. Because we do have incoming leads come through, but every single day, if you get up or if you're at the office by 8:30, we script practice every single day at 8:45, 9 o'clock, you're not getting a coffee. You're not, talk to other people. You are getting on the phones and you're doing, we're called P filters. We use Commissions Inc., which is new leads that came through last night if you missed them. P2s, which is people you've attempted contact with, but you haven't reached them yet. And then your hot leads, which people are active on the website, and then your follow-ups, right? So if you just did this every single day, you got in the office at 8:30, you got your coffee, you got your water cooler talk out of the way, you scripted with the team at 8:45, you got on the phones at 9 o'clock, you called all of your leads, plus you did your follow-ups. And if you did that between 9 and 12, and you stayed on top of your follow-ups and what you had to do, that's very doable to keep that in check there. So 3 hours of follow-up. And then in the afternoon, you go on those appointments that you set. Well, if you have no appointments to go on, what's your ultimate goal every single day? Or it should be for every single realtor out there. Your only goal throughout the day should be to set an appointment or set as many appointments as you can. So that's what I would say. Like if you do that, we say hunt in the morning, eat in the afternoon. Well, if you've hunted all morning, but you haven't caught anything, what should you be doing?
Hunting.
You should be hunting more. So I always have this, it's hashtag one a day. Like, are you setting one appointment a day? And if you did 20 contacts a day, minimum, and you pushed yourself to make one appointment every single day, I don't care if it's a pre-qualified listing appointment, pre-qualified buyer appointment, if it's just a sit down to chat about the market with a potential investor, if it's a home evaluation, which I built my business on home evaluations, whatever it is, if every single day at 3 o'clock you did your lead generation, did your follow-up, did everything, and you go on appointment, and then you go home at the end of the day, like what would your life look like? What would your business look like if you booked 5 appointments a week and you did that for 50 weeks, 250 appointments, and your conversion rate was only 10% on people actually sat down with face to face, which would be more than that. That's 25 deals.
Right.
It's five times as much as the average agent does.
And that sounds like taking the weekends off also.
Absolutely. We crush open houses, but it is real simple and it is real easy to do. It's just, you have to do it. Right? Because there's so many other things. I can go on social media. I can do this. I can look at my emails. I can, there's so many things that can distract you. And if you just time block your day effectively, it's so super boring. That's the thing. It is easy and it is simple. So what are simple and easy things? That friggin' boring as hell.
Yeah.
If you do it every single day. My first year back in Canada, I did 62 deals by myself, no assistant. I didn't know anybody except for one friend who actually was my first listing. But I did 150, I think it was 153 home evaluations in my neighborhood in that 1 year. Just push for home evaluations.
Wow, so you only had like a 45% conversion rate there.
Yeah. Well, so we did 62 deals. 36 of those were listings. And I think 30 of them were in my neighborhood within a 3-kilometer radius of my house. So it's I built on how can I provide value? What's your home worth in today's market?
Right.
And then just scripting people around like, hey, you don't owe me anything. If we sit down and I give you some value, you understand what your largest asset is worth. Worst case scenario is you're in a better position to understand one of your largest investments. Sounds like a win-win to me.
I find that amazing about people will like trip over themselves trying to figure out where the value is. And I think we have so much value that we could give. And we were talking about Phil Jones beforehand. I really do think that if people would just figure out what to say and how to introduce the value, like they could just stop thinking. Again, like the idea is we're just doing scripting practice yesterday. And something that Phil Jones talks a lot about is number one is how open-minded would you be, right? Mm-hmm. That's one thing. And then the second thing he says, if and then. It's like knock on someone's house, say, hey, not sure if you saw, that house sold down whatever 123 Main Street just sold for about $100,000 above listing. Did you see that? I'm not sure. Were you able to see that? That would be the OFQ, right? And then you say, if that home selling for above asking or above market value would affect the value of your home, then would you be interested in knowing maybe what you might be able to get for in today's market, right? Or how open-minded would you be to knowing what you might be able to get for your, like that scripting is just to figure out what works for you and then just volume, just go and speak to people. And again, we love to overcomplicate things because I think when things are complicated, we have a reason that we're not doing it.
Yeah, it really is the easiest. I'd say it's the lock and key, very much like that. Like everyone's got a problem. If they don't have a problem, they're not going to meet with you, right? And it could be as simple as like their problem is, I don't really care. I'm not moving. Nice. Is this one of your largest assets you've ever owned? Yeah, of course it is in my home. That's amazing. So, do you have stocks? Most people are like, I have a little portfolio. Perfect. Do you get a checkup on those every month, every quarter, every year or so? Absolutely. It's the same thing as this. And it doesn't matter what you do with this information. Now you're going to be able to know at a higher level what your home is worth and be the industry expert or market expert so you know what the heck's happening. And if something does happen, you have to make a quick decision. First of all, you have all the right information, up-to-date information, and you have someone that you can trust to give you the real no BS value of what your home is worth. Like, how amazing is that? I got a half an hour tomorrow. Let's go do that. And just push for it. Like, I would say you can't be pushy. If you actually, I love helping people. It's my entire life is built around that. And if you're pushing to help someone, like, you're never going to be, I'm not pushing somebody to make a bad decision or to make a sale. It's like, hey, I'm going to push you in order to get in front of you so I can help you have better information. And when you do that, you create amazing friends, amazing relationships. And they're like, holy shit, there's an actual real estate agent that knows what he's talking about. I like him and I trust him. And then you're a shoe and you're 99% chance going to deal with him when the time comes, whether it's now or 10 years from now.
Yeah, I liked how you framed it before. Like, I'm not selling anybody to sell their home. Like, you can't force somebody to do something like that, or you're not going to. And I like how you've almost like reconciled or combined, like, I'm selling and I'm also not selling. So I'm having meaningful conversations, but I'm not pushing someone's timeline up. Like, the sale isn't, I'm selling you to push your timeline up that it works for me. The sale is just, let me get in front of you and provide value. Like, that is the sell. Like, do you want to buy my product? What's your product? Free value and information that's legitimately going to move your life forward. Like, okay, like, that's an easy sell.
Well, and that, there's the most profitable person in my database hasn't transacted yet. Probably won't for another 10 years. About 6 years ago, door knocked him, and he lives in Stony Creek. He owns a bar. Everybody knows him. I can't say his name because he told me not to tell anybody, because he knows all realtors, because he's owned this bar for like 30 years. Great guy. And in 6 years, he's given me $23 million worth of sales from friends and family. He's never transacted though. But I gave him that value, did a home evaluation. Well, I door knocked him, then followed up with him. He said he was going to do a kitchen reno. I said, tell you what, let me give you a home evaluation first, so you can you know what your home is worth. And maybe you can have me back and I can help you pick out some paint colors, whatnot. Came in, door knocked him, followed with phone calls a few times, set an appointment to give him a home evaluation. A few months later, he calls me. We're going to be doing wife's got some paint colors and whatnot. You mind coming over and give us your idea of what you think would be best for us right now in today's, environment? Went over there, brought him a bottle of wine, said congrats on that. And, gave him some great insight. And then when he was done, came back and gave him another home evaluation. I'm like, hey, your home's actually increased in value quite a bit. Plus the market was good, so it looked awesome. But then he's referred me to all of his friends and family. And I've just provided him value first. And it wasn't like I was out there trying to get him to do that. It's like, hey, I've actually provided you value. So he knows I'm going to do a good job. I'm not going to bullshit. And he trusts me because I've provided value for him. So it's great.
Do you think it requires discipline to be able to have those conversations without any expectations? And if so, how do you build up that discipline muscle where you're not like needing that next transaction? Because some people really do need a transaction. But if that's not the name of the game, how do you put that to the side?
It all comes down to discipline. Are you doing those things? Like today, I didn't want to do these follow-ups this morning, but I knew I had to get them done because I'm on here today. I got another thing I'm doing on Thursday. I got a tight time frame this week. So you need to do that. But if you just understand, going back to the gym analogy, it is a long-term game. It's easy to say, like deferred gratification, or a guy on our team calls it invisible progress, right? And it's, if you want right now business, you have to talk to more people. If you want long-term business, you have to talk to more people. The more people you talk to, the more opportunities for right now business you're going to have. The more people that you talk to and follow up with, the more opportunities for long-term business you're going to have, and more opportunities for referrals. So it's like, if you want right now business, talk to more people. If you want a long-term business, talk to more people and provide that value. Because the best thing that happens, and it's happened to me a few times, where I go for a home evaluation for a guy I've been following a long time, just, shooting the shit. He's one guy, great guy actually, named Bill. He was like, this was right during when the market was kind of popping off a bit, right before it kind of crashed. And the Leafs were playing. He's like, I was on the phone. He's like, why don't you come over tonight, watch the Leaf game? I got a new bottle of whiskey I want to try. And I'll open up with you. I'm like, I'm in. So I went over to his house, had all my stuff ready for the home evaluation. I gave him all the information and whatnot. His wife wasn't even there, but we were just, shooting the shit, having a good time. We watched a bit of the Leaf game. While we were doing this home evaluation, wife walks through the door, and he's like, honey, Chris says we can get this much for it. What do you think? And she's like, wow. So, do you want to do it before? Because each winter they would go down to Florida. And like, well, yeah, might as well. Why don't we just celebrate now if now's the right time? And I'm like, I'm not prepared. I've had a few drinks. I don't have any listing paper prepared. I said, yeah, can we just do it? So it was like providing value is going to turn into right now business eventually. And if it wasn't, it was going to be later on. And in the meantime, it's going to be referring me to people because you come in with value and not having that kind of like, hey, let's sell your home because it's good for me. Like always come in with like what's best for the client.
Right.
Makes sense.
So you're speaking a lot of like the strategies that you're talking about to build your business are timeless. It doesn't matter what technology exists. It's belly to belly. It's talking to more people and providing more value. However, as you probably know, artificial intelligence is now a thing and tech is booming. How are you utilizing tech and AI for your business and your team?
Well, I mean, back in with our CRM, obviously the automation and whatnot is huge. I mean, just a lot of stuff that we do, kind of the basics. I think we use like ChatGPT and whatnot for. Our team uses it quite a bit. They use it for email templates and whatnot. All the stuff that we use it for is to facilitate a better experience for the clients. Dove into AI like CMA, like AI CMAs and stuff like that, which maybe they will at one point, but if you don't have intimate knowledge of how people work and how each transaction works and whatnot, you may have some good baseline data, but it's like going to Zillow or like any of those other consumer websites. Like your home is worth this much. It's fucking bullshit. Pardon my language. I shouldn't say that. Right. It's BS because there's so much more that goes into that. AI can't build your relationship for you. It can help you make your relationship building more efficient and effective. The simplest version of AI or technology, you put a reminder to call this person in 3 months, right? And I know I've heard a lot of the bots, like I've seen a lot of the chat bots, which are pretty cool and they can convert, which is awesome. Even some of the call ones as well. That only takes you so far. If I tell you, hey, you say, hey, Chris, call me in 3 months because my kid is graduating school and we're going to be moving. And I send you an automated text. I think people's bullshit meter to AI is increased just as fast as AI has. And like, I don't believe anything I see on social media anymore. And I know it's gotten so good where it's just like, it actually is that person. Like the deep fake stuff is unreal.
Yeah, tricky.
It really is. And it's all computer generated. However, that connection between people will always trump any form of AI, automation, or technology. But that AI and the technology, these automations, can help you get to that point a lot faster and efficiency around that.
So it's kind of like all top of funnel AI technology automation great. The second you get underneath that top of the funnel, like the middle of the funnel, where they already know you now, they need to like you and trust you, it's like cut it out. Like maybe again, for, like you said, the reminders, but once you pass there, like just keep it human to human connections and let's go old fashioned.
Nothing in this business anyways, or somebody's massive life decision. I can't see a time. I mean, maybe it will happen, but I can't see a time where I'm going to trust an AI chatbot to walk me through, or ChatGPT to walk me through one of the largest financial decisions of my life. And I can't look at somebody face to face, eye to eye and say, hey, here's how I'm feeling, right? And will it happen at some point? Probably. The exponential growth curve of technology and where this is going it's pretty unreal. I still think in our lifetimes that the human connection is really the most important thing at the end of the day. Because there's too much that goes into emotion. And now if they can make robots that can feel and judge and monitor emotion and act on the fly, here's the thing I'll say. I'm a very empathetic person. Not sympathetic, very empathetic. I can feel people's energy. I think most people can in sales if you're good at it. It's why I connect with people, I think, but I'm really good at it. Somebody walks in the office a little bit different, and 22, 23 people in our office, one person out of all these people was a little bit off, and I could feel it in the room. Nobody else could, right? But I'm kind of monitoring and seeing what people like. Then you ask that person, they think they're shielding and hiding it really well. But if you have some empathy, you can understand human emotion and energy for people like that. I don't even call it a skill. That's a human given trait to be able to feel energy from people. And you can always feel that. It doesn't matter how empathetic you are, or how narcissistic you are. Like you can feel people's emotions in the moment, which I think is super important. I deal with mostly divorces now. Like my clients, I try to limit myself to 1 or 2 deals a month. Everything else is past the team. And a lot of those are emotional clients. And I can tell you that I've been doing this 20 years. It's a difficult thing for me. It's draining for me. I don't know if right now, well, I know right now there's no technology that's going to be able to replace that person where they can both parties can feel like they trust them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's exciting because you can automate things, and it's just like it makes things easier. It really does. Like I love ChatGPT, like I think everybody else. However, I worry that it's going to make people really dumb, especially my kids.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It's a pretty fair synopsis, and I think quite unanimous. Most people that I speak with say the same thing. I love it, but our future is messed. Like, we're done.
Yeah, our kids are fine.
Yeah, basically. What's next for you? Like, if there's a lever that you could pull on that would make the most drastic impact for your business, what's something that you're struggling with that you're trying to change? What's next?
Well, we are, and be completely transparent, we are the most unprofitable we've ever been. And it's not by design by any means, but we've put a big push on growth for this company. Because I could always stay small, like, find this business very easy. You can do that, do the sales. But it's how do we attract more great people? Because we've given our people everything we can. This office we have an in-house print shop, we have in-house photography, video, all these kind of things that you couldn't ask for anything else. The biggest thing is finding the right people to help push us forward. That seed, like my personal mission, the mission for this team, because everything comes down to obviously transaction volume in terms of making money. My big thing is people move the money. People move the transactions. And if they're buying into our systems and they're following that, like, again, building trust every day, which is our entire goal here. It's our mission, is to build trust with the clients so they can build better lives. Find more people that are doing that and building and buy into this team environment. And we have some amazing people. It's just finding those right people that are going to keep pushing us forward, because I think we're doing something super special here. I really do. Like, we just had our grand opening, and to hear people like, oh my God, this doesn't feel like a business or a real estate office. It feels, I don't like to use the word family, but it feels like a family that has a massive vision and mission behind them. So there's one thing I could do is get more people on board. A sales manager that's out there recruiting all the time. We have a great onboarding platform, and we have this mentorship mentality where every single person on this team mentors each other. And we do have that program in place where one agent is mentoring these new agents coming through. And I think just continuing to build that out is going to be huge. So we can give people not only the know-how, but the resources and the confidence to like show up the way that I would after 20 years in the business. Imagine somebody 1 year in the business showing up the same way that I would do that after 20 years. That's my biggest goal.
Chris, honestly, sorry, I went a little bit over time, but it was an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Appreciate all the value that you provided to the entire audience and everything that you're doing for the real estate industry here in Toronto. So once again, thank you so much.